But it's like, honestly, I'd rather risk everything and not make it than die wondering what if I did just jump, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like that's like a sacrifice I'm willing to take for sure. I didn't grow up with the dream of being a music producer, honestly. I attended Occidental University in Eagle Rock, and I went there trying to become a lawyer. That was my main goal, was to become a civil rights lawyer. But during that time, I was going through what I thought was the hardest period of my life. I couldn't ever turn off my brain. It was like a record player was playing over and over and over again, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. And that caused me to become depressed. And at that time, I was missing classes, I was skipping out on tests, I couldn't study. And so I went to a doctor, I went to a psychiatrist, and I got diagnosed with extreme OCD anxiety, and they said that I had situational depression because of it, which was a really, really hard thing to hear and process. I was dealing with that while being a student, and truthfully, I was really unable to find hope in anything. But going back to high school, senior year, I took music production classes as an elective. And since then, you know, I had Ableton on my computer, and once in a while, you know, I'd get back on for fun and, you know, make beats, something, nothing serious. But during this really hard time, I remember one day I just opened my laptop and I put my headphones on, and something happened where when I was making music, my brain finally stopped. I couldn't hear all the thoughts and questions and constant overthinking, and it ultimately became my peace really quickly. And slowly, this started to become somewhat of an obsession. It became the only thing I wanted to do, and you know, I never even considered taking a music class, let alone majoring in music. So I decided to take one music class and just see, you know, what I thought about it. And honestly, it just sparked my obsession even more. And I personally decided that with a lot of thought and a lot of stress, I wanted to pursue music. However, this decision did come with a lot of backlash and disapproval from my parents and honestly most of my family. But at the same time, I realized it was my life. At the same time, I realized nobody in my family has made $1 million. At the same time, I realized nobody in my family has became extremely successful in their careers. So I also had to trust my heart and trust my gut and realize that this jump was scary, but it was something that I believed in and something that I truly thought I could be really good at, even when I wasn't. And I knew how to improve, and that's one thing I learned from being an athlete growing up. Basketball taught me how to look at a skill set or look at improvement and being able to take it from looking like this to breaking it down into little steps to get to this big idea, this big goal, basically. So what I did with music, I kind of looked it over and thought, okay, if I break this down and take it step by step and really focus on just being a sponge and absorbing all the information and the individuals who have so much more experience than I do, I can get there. And I mean, looking at my basketball past and Kobe and just anybody who's became great, it's just it's the same blueprint. It's the same concept. So I just try to apply that, and I felt like if I could apply that process to music, why couldn't I be great? And I felt that in my heart, and that's all I can really do is trust my heart at the end of the day. I came back to Occidental as a full-time music production major. When I came back and starting off the year, Occidental let me know that I wouldn't be receiving the same financial aid. They told me that I would have to pay $50,000 a year to attend Occidental. and I had 2.5 years left. So I was looking at $150,000 in debt, and I don't come from money. I grew up with a single mom, but I was paying for my college, and I did not want to leave college with almost 200,000 debt. That's a down payment for a house, and ultimately I decided to drop out of school. Looking back, and even then I did feel bad because my mom raised me by herself. It was me and her. She sacrificed so much. I can't even express how much she sacrificed for me. And her main goal was to get me to a good college, get me a good education, and so I could leave college with a good job where I wasn't struggling. That was her main goal. And me leaving college felt to her as if her hard work and sacrifices were for nothing. And that started ultimately the hardest journey of my life. I dropped out of school. I got an Airbnb for 1 month to help me, find a space, find a job. So I moved all my stuff. I moved to Airbnb. I think the only thing I could afford was this small back house next to Compton. When I was there, I was looking for jobs, and ultimately I was still working on music, practicing every day, working on trying to figure out, just every way I could learn, every way I could get better, with no money. I mean, my fridge was empty all the time. I ate the most dry, bland foods there was, and I just got by. Towards the end of the month, I started to realize I just started my job. I had no money, and I couldn't find a place to live. And I realized that I was going to become homeless. And that was really hard. That was really hard.
We're gonna have to see what I can afford. It's only $4.20 that I can use.
Got 4 hours of sleep last night, 4 hours of sleep the night before. Sleep in my car again tonight. Pretty tired. Just having a bed, man. I miss sleeping on a bed. It's hard.
And not only was I sad because of the fact that was going to have a home, I was going to sleep in my car, but it was my first time feeling like everyone was right. It was my first time feeling like I failed, even though I just left school. So yeah, I became homeless. And, I would go to work, and I would have my shifts. And then right after work, I would go to the studio or go to someone's house where they were working on music. And that was my life. Going to work on music, sleeping in my car, sleeping on a friend's couch, that was something I don't wish upon anyone, and was also a time where I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about what it really means to have nothing, and what it was like to have to pick myself up with nobody and with nothing.
Sometimes I look up. I look up at the sky, and I just look up. I'm just like,
Like, yo, I need a break, man. Yo, I finally felt like I was getting a break, man. I felt like I had something. I was like, this is it. And then just boom, man. I think about high school. I think about college. I think about COVID. I think about being homeless. I think about people I loved, like thinking I'm a monster. I've thought about sacrificing myself for so many other people and helping people and trying to lead. It's like you guys sometimes just ask me, it's like, why God? Like what do I gotta do, man? It's like, where are you, man?